right, so today I would like to build our practice around, because we are approaching the summer solstice, I'd like to build our practice around a mantra that is very dear to my heart, partly because it was one of Ram Dass's favorite mantras that he used. And it's a mantra honoring the sun and also honoring the place in the heart that is what he called the spiritual heart, or the hridayam. And the mantra is Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarva Shatru Vinashanam. Some of you, we sang this, I believe, about a week and a half ago together, but I really want to deepen into exploring that mantra today. Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarva Shatru Vinashanam. And I'm going to do something. I am improving my technological skills here. And I'm going to do a screen share. And I'm going to bring that mantra up on the screen. I thought I was doing that, but now it doesn't seem to want to come up. Let me, here we go. There we go. Can you all see that on your screen? That you can see it? Good. Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarva Shatru Vinashanam. And I just want to tell you a little bit about the context of this, this mantra. It's from the Ramayana, ancient Hindu epic tale, where Lord Rama is about to go into battle with the evil demon king Ravana. And before he goes into battle to defeat Ravana, he is told by a sage to meditate on keeping the sun in his heart. And the sage says, if you meditate on keeping the sun in your heart, you will be victorious in battle over your enemies. You will defeat your enemies. And all evil, it also means all evil vanishes from the one who keeps the sun in their heart. And he also goes on to say that it bestows permanent happiness. And when you think about what that means, I mean, all of these things we can take metaphorically. All of us personally and socially and culturally are dealing with some pretty heavy battles right now. We have our own personal battles in our own life. We have our societal battles that are very big in our in our awareness right now. And so keeping the sun in our hearts is a way of cultivating that quality of light and openness and purity and love and compassion that helps us to meet those, quote, enemies with a higher consciousness. When we think about evil, all evil vanishes from keeping the sun in your heart. Evil is really something that I think of evil as a state of mind, a state of unconsciousness. When the egoic mind that keeps us in that illusory sense of separate self is dominant in our awareness, that is really being like in a state of evil or a state of hell. And so evil vanishes when we soften and dissolve that illusory sense of separateness. The sun shines down, also thinking about the sun in the heart, the sun shines down on every being indiscriminately. The sun is non-judgmental mercy and compassion for all beings, no matter who, no matter what. And so we can cultivate those qualities of the sun in the heart by meditating on that. And I just want to share with you this, see if I can get this a little bit bigger. Whoops. This is what Ram Dass said about that mantra. Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarva Shatru Vinashanam. Loosely translated, it means, as for the being who keeps the sun in the heart, all evil vanishes for life. Evil being that, being caught in ego. That is, when you remember the Atman, the Buddha, the place in your heart, the being, the inner guru, the light that comes from your own heart, then you no longer live with that which takes people from God, because all you see is God and that which brings you to it. When you do this mantra sometimes, you sit in front of the sun and you let the sun come into your heart until the warmth in your heart becomes like 1,000 suns and the light pours from you. Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarva Shatru Vinyasanam. I also like the image of, it's also been said that if you, the sun in the sky, if you put 1,000 little pots of water out in the sun, every single one of those pots of water is going to equally and perfectly reflect the full orb of the sun. And no matter how many millions of pots you put out in the sun, all of those little pots are going to perfectly reflect that beautiful sun in the sky. So in that way, each and every one of us is a perfect reflection of the divinity, the totality, the infinite. The sun shines on everyone indiscriminately and generously. And that quality of spirit is also reflected in each one of our own individual hearts. So let's keep that as a meditation as we move through the postures today. Okay, let's come to standing on the mat. Find a place where you can stand, starting facing east, whatever east is for you. And as we begin facing east, we're going to do 4 half salutations to each of the 4 directions as a way of honoring at this time of coming towards solstice, as a way of honoring the cycle of the seasons, the path that we make around the sun as we move from season to season. So starting facing east, begin by coming into your mountain pose with your shoulders stacked over your hips. Long spine, lift the lower ribs away from the pelvic bowl. Roll the shoulders down and back. Root the tailbone down into the earth and the crown of the head up toward the sun. And we begin by placing one hand on the low belly below the navel and one hand at the center of the chest. Let the eyes close for a moment and just begin to notice the quality of your breath. In and out through the nose. Notice how deep the breath is or how soft it is without trying to manipulate it. Just bring your awareness to that beautiful, sacred rhythm of the inhale and the exhale. Lips gently closed. Feeling the breath sweep through you. And begin to deepen your breath, letting the breath begin in the belly. Belly expands. Breath lifts up into the rib cage so the ribs widen. And finally drawing the breath to surround the heart. Feeling that fullness, pause for a moment, and exhale, emptying chest, emptying the ribs, letting the navel draw in toward the spine to complete the exhale. The word solstice means pause of the sun. As at that time of the longest day of the year, the sun appears to pause in that time of fullness, full radiance, the longest days. And it seems to pause that way for a few weeks before we even begin to notice the diminishing of the light. So letting the depth of your breath, the fullness of your breath as you take that inhale and take a little pause at the top. Let the breath mirror the cycle of the sun as it pauses in fullness at the time of solstice. Drinking in that prana, let it draw in and light up and shine in every cell as you take that little pause at the top, your own personal solstice breath, before emptying completely. And take a few more slow, deep breaths like that. Pausing at the top. Pausing in fullness. And then letting the eyes open with a soft gaze. Facing east, the direction where we begin to feel and see the increase of the light in the spring. Take a deep breath in, sweeping the arms in a nice slow sun breath, reaching up, reach through the right, reach through the left, arch back, heart, hands, and gaze, lift to the sky. Exhale, deep dive into your forward bend, bowing to the earth. Inhale, half lift, long spine. Feel the core light up, the front body to support the back body as you lengthen from tail to crown. Exhale, fold over the legs once again, bowing down, placing palms on the earth if you can reach, or fingertips. And then bending the knees, come into a light squat here, bringing the hands together in prayer in front of the heart. And a deep breath in as you sweep up. Palms come together. Exhale, draw them down to the heart. And as the hands rest at the heart center, taking a moment to remember that mantra, Aditya Hridayam Punyam, Sarva Shatru Vinashanam. Meditate on keeping the sun in your heart. Take a quarter turn to face the south as we face the direction of summer, of enjoying the sun in its fullness as everything comes to fruition. Everything comes into its fullness. Inhale, arms reach and rise, arch back, heart, hands, gaze, lift. Exhale, deep dive. Let the crown of the head reach toward the earth, and then take a half lift on the next inhale, flat back. Navel draws in and up. Exhale, fold, let it all go. Soften the knees, come into a gentle squat, bring the hands to the heart. Exhale. Inhale, sweep up. Palms come together overhead. Exhale, as if you're drawing that light of the sun down and bringing it into your heart. Aditya Hridayam Punyam, Sarva Shatru Vinashanam. Meditate on keeping the sun in your heart. Taking a quarter turn to face the west, the direction we associate with autumn, where when things begin to come to completion. Inhale, arms reach and rise. Heart, hands, gaze, lift skywards. Exhale, bow to the earth. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, full forward fold. Inhale, drop the hips, and exhale as you bring the hands to palms in prayer in front of the heart. Inhale, sweep up. Palms touch overhead. Exhale, bring them down to the heart. Aditya Hridayam Punyam, Sarva Shatru Vinashanam. Keeping the sun in your heart. Take a quarter turn to face the north, which is the season of winter and stillness and rejuvenation through that stillness. The fertile darkness. Inhale, arms reach and rise. Arch back, heart lifts, gaze lifts. Exhale, full dive into forward bend. Half lift on the inhale, lengthen and lift through the core. Exhale, fold. Drop the hips halfway. Big breath in, palms come together. Exhale, drop into that squat a little bit more. Bring your weight into your heels. Inhale, sweep up. Palms come together, look up as your palms meet. Exhale, draw them down to the heart. All evil vanishes from the one who keeps the sun in their heart. Evil being any mind state that keeps us from remembering our true nature. Take a quarter turn, back full circle, and find a place actually where you can face your screen so you can see me. So wherever that is in your practice space. And from here, we'll just plant the feet again back in mountain pose, hip width apart, and take some sweeping sun breaths. And I actually want to just slow this down for a minute. Often when people lift the arms, they're just going like this, kind of like a robotic move. And what I want to invite you to do is, let's do this in slow motion together. As the arms rise, once your arms come halfway, take a little moment, take a little pause and fullness here to reach the fingertips away from one another so you actually can feel it right in the center of your chest, widening and opening. And then turn the palms up and let that turning up not just be in the hands and wrists, but roll the entire arms open so that the upper arm rotates open. And that causes the shoulders to drop. And if you can feel the heart light up even more here, you can notice the power of just the simple gesture of turning your palms up. It's a gesture of saying, yes, here I am. Of taking in, of receiving, of opening. And you can feel the shoulder blades draw down the back body and even draw them toward the center of the spine here. So you've got a beautiful open heart. And then we continue the lift. So at the top of the breath, the palms come together, and then exhale, bend the knees, bring the chin to the chest, and pull the navel in. So take a few of those and just remember at that halfway point to spiral open with the arms. Feel it expanding and lighting up the heart. And at the top of your breath, palms come together. Exhale. The wrists cross at the end of the exhale. A few more sun breaths like that. And not only is that a beautiful practice, a meditative practice to think about these sun breaths as an opening of the heart, but also anatomically is better for your shoulders to keep a little more space. And it keeps the shoulders from scrunching up toward the ears when we move through these sun breaths. And on the next exhale, bring the hands to the thighs. And we'll take some standing cat-cow. So you're going to stay in that gentle squat and just tilt the pelvis back. Bring the shoulders back, spread the heart. Chin to chest, navel lifts in and up. In and out through the nose, ujjayi breath, sweeping the back of the throat. On the next in-breath, let the arms release and reach them high. Let the right hand, the right fingers, wrap around the left wrist. And then let the left foot come behind the right. You're going to bend the right knee a little bit. You're going to come onto the outer edge of your left foot, which is drawing over as far over to the right as you can. And just play with this delicious side bend for a couple of breaths here as you expand through the entire left side of your body, reaching the left hip out to the left, reaching your left fingertips a little further over to the right, and then bending the right knee a little bit more to juice it up. Float the arms down, come back to mountain pose, and just pause for a moment so you can notice the effects of that pose. You can really feel the difference between one side of your body and the other. Notice where the prana is flowing. And then the arms rise again. We're going to grasp the right wrist with the left fingers and let the right foot come as far behind the left leg, as far over to the left as you can, onto the outer edge of your right foot, excuse me. And breathe and enjoy the expansion on the right side of the body here. Notice if that right shoulder is going into scrunchasana and draw it down away from the ears. Spread open wide the space between the ribs. Keep that right leg, which is behind you over toward the left, keep that leg straight. One more breath here. And then float the hands down. Come back to center. Take a moment to roll your shoulders one way. And any sounds that want to come out here, any letting go sounds are always wonderful. Roll them the other way. And clasp the hands behind you in Yoga Mudra, spreading the heart nice and wide, lifting the hands toward the back end of your mat as the shoulder blades draw toward the center. Big wide open heart. Bend the knees and fold over the legs. Keep the belly connected to the thighs, so you're just coming into a gentle squat here, and let the head hang down. Keep lifting the hands skyward. And then begin to straighten the legs just a little more. See if you can keep that connection between belly and thighs. Even if the legs don't want to go straight, just find a little pulse here. So you're going to back off on the inhale a little bit, and on the exhale, you give it the juice. Try to lift the sacrum a little higher. And just notice if the straightening of the legs, the ability to straighten the legs changes a little bit from breath to breath. See if you can draw your hands over toward the front of your mat. Oh yeah, nice shoulder stretch. Some of you will benefit from using a strap here. And then release the clasped hands and let the hands float down beside the feet. Just coming into Uttanasana, forward bend. Continuing to lift the sacrum on the exhale. And then from here, bring your hands forward just a little bit in front of your feet and heel toe the feet to as wide as your mat. So the outer edges of your feet line up with the outer edges of your mat. We'll take it into a twist, come first up into a half forward bend, just like we did earlier in our half salutations. But this time your feet are a little bit wider. Be on fingertips or a fist. Bend your left knee and let the right hand rise to the sky. So you're going to be long from your tailbone to your crown and long from your lower hand to your upper hand. Right shoulder stacks over left. Big breath. And exhale, release. We'll take it to the other side. This time you're going to bend the right knee, keep the left leg straight, and grow long and wide in this twist. Exhale to release. We'll take it again, opening the heart toward the right, pressing down with the left fist or fingertips. So now your left knee is slightly bent, right leg is straight, and take it into a bind by bringing your right hand to the left hip, either slipping the pinky in the hip crease or just bringing the back of the hand to the hip. Maybe you can walk your fingers to the inside of your thigh and really roll that shoulder open, look up at the sky. Try to keep your shoulders at the same level as your hips so you're not sinking down. So that bottom arm is straight. The left arm is straight. And release when you're ready. Take that on the other side. You're going to bend your right knee. First come into the twist, stacking left shoulder on top of right. And then take it into a bind, inviting the left shoulder to roll open. Keep the crown of the head reaching straight forward. Flat back, parallel spine to the floor. It's parallel even though it's in this lovely twist. Exhale, release. And coming into that little bit of a wide leg forward fold, pivot on the heels, toes turn out 45 degrees, soften the knees, and we'll roll up one vertebra at a time. Stack bone on bone. And come to standing with soft knees. Shoulder width, feet are shoulder width apart, and keeping the shoulders right where they are, stacked over the hips. Just find those circles of the pelvis. One of the things on my bucket list that I would like to do someday is to take a belly dancing class. I never have done that, but I enjoy this movement a lot, so I think belly dancing would be fun for me. Try circling the other way. Notice what's present, what's alive in your hips today. Breathe into any tightness or areas of restriction. And celebrate, if there isn't a sense of restriction, celebrate how good that feels, the freedom that you have in your body to move. Come back to legs straight but unlocked knees. We'll take it into empty coat sleeves. So your feet are still shoulder width apart, toes 45 degrees, and let the heart lead. The arms just come along for the ride. And as you gather some momentum here into this standing twist, one arm, the lower arm, is going to tap the opposite kidney, which gives a little bit of adrenal stimulation. And get a little bit more bouncy in the knees for a little bit more depth in the twist, gives you a little bit more momentum. Lift opposite heel. We'll inhale center and exhale from the belly, open mouth with a ha, 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 ha. Slow it down. Ha. Let that exhale just melt into a lovely sigh. And let yourself gradually find your way into that alive, tingly, pranified stillness. And heel toe the feet to hip width apart. We'll do one more standing, energizing kriya, the breath of joy. So soft, bouncy knees, arms are going to swing forward, sideways, and all the way up to the sky. On the exhale, we'll do that ha breath, opening the mouth, letting go of any stagnant energy. Drawing in, sipping in that joy and aliveness with those 3 in-breaths through the nose. So in-breaths through the nose, out-breaths through the mouth. If you get dizzy doing this or it doesn't feel right for you, you can just do standing sun breaths, or you could slow it down and do it much slower than I'm doing as well. Soft knees, arms swing forward. Inhale, 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 and ha! Inhale, 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 ha! Inhale, 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 ha! Ha! Make sure you get that bounce in your knees, ha! Because this is the breath of joy. So get that playful, ha! Childlike quality into this kriya. Ha! If it feels good to pick up the pace, ha! You can do that, or you can keep it nice and slow. Ha! 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 Then slow it down. Savor it. Ha! One more. Slowly rise. Slow sun breath. Spiral the arms open. Feel the heart light up. Palms meet overhead. Exhale, draw it down to the heart. Palms in prayer. Thumbs resting right at the heart center. Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarva Shatru Vinyasanam. Meditate on keeping the sun in your heart and you will be victorious. All happiness will be yours. By the way, that doesn't mean that we don't have challenges arise in our life. It means that we've cultivated the quality of the heart, the quality of happiness that is not dependent on circumstances. And we'll take it into some sun salutations now, turning to face the front of your mat if you aren't already facing front. Coming into Tadasana mountain pose, open heart. Lengthen through the low back as you reach the tailbone down to root into the earth. Crown of the head to the sky, hands at the heart. Inhale, arms reach, rise, reach through the right fingers, your left fingertips. Honor the sun, bow to the earth, exhale. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, right foot steps back and lower the right knee down. And we'll just take a moment here to play with opening up in this lunge, rooting tailbone down, and then on the exhale, we'll take it into a runner stretch to stretch the hamstring a little bit more. So rock the hips back and bow down, long spine. And take a few pulses like that from your low lunge to your runner stretch. Fold here at the hips. Inhale, lengthen, open the heart, soften the shoulders down. Exhale, fold from the hips, flat back. Coming back into that lunge. Bring your hands to your thighs just to steady yourself to come up into a more upright kneeling warrior. Keep that abdominal lift and the tailbone rooting down. And let the hands rise to the sky. Soften the shoulders, spread the heart in that gesture of victory. The idea of being victorious is a quality of mind, a quality of freedom, a quality of spaciousness of the heart. Exhale, hands behind you, interlace. Inhale, wide open heart. Big breath. And exhale, release, frame that front foot. And then we're going to bring the left hand to the left thigh and just press into the thigh to stack your left shoulder on top of your right. So we just take that twist with a little assist there. And see if you can play with this a moment to see if you can get, maybe there's some little snap, crackle, pops that need to happen to align the spine. Just keep growing long from your tail to your crown. And then release, frame the left foot and step back into your plank pose. Firm plank, body in one long line, press out through the heel. Power up the arms so your shoulders stack over your wrists. Deep breath in, exhale, knees, chest, chin. Toes curled under, hands under the shoulders, draw the heart forward. And take your baby cobra, plant the feet down. Press into the hands to draw the heart forward a little bit more. And release the hands, and you can clasp them behind you or just reach your fingers back. Shoulder blades draw toward the center. Keep the feet planted down here. And you can bring your hands once again just gently to rest under your shoulders if you're staying in baby cobra. If you're coming into full cobra, you're going to take a little press into the hands, keep the elbows bent and shoulders relaxed. Heart spreads, keep the sun in your heart. Opening up through the whole front of the torso. Exhale, roll down, forehead touches, and press up through plank. Or actually, let's bring the knees down here and just take a moment of cat-cow before we... Cat-cow and child before we get into our downward facing dog, because it's a nice warm-up for down dog. Making sure we have all the movements of the spine. Spine really loosened up because we're going to do some deeper back bends later. And then big toes touch and press back into your child's pose for a moment. Letting the belly release down toward the earth, hands reach forward. Sitting bones soften back to heels. One more breath. And on the next inhale, rise back up into table, bring the knees under the hips, toes curl under, press back to downward facing dog, and take a few breaths here. Keep energized to the arms, pushing down into the earth with fingers and thumbs and roots of the fingers. Let the heart sink low, down toward your mat in the direction of your toes. Lift the sacrum high. We're going to step through with the right foot. So bringing the right foot between the hands and lowering left knee down. And we'll take that flow, folding back into your runner stretch, leading with your heart. Letting your breath lead the dance. Inhale into your low lunge. Exhale into your runner stretch. Play with that for a few more breaths. Coming back into your lunge, bring your hands to your thighs. Once again, stacking shoulders on hips, rooting tail down, lifting navel in and up. Come into that expression of victory, whatever that feels like for you. Maybe it's the arms spread wide. Maybe you want to be more fierce and have your fingers interlaced. Pointer fingers to the sky, kind of like that sense of wielding a sword. Maybe you want to find that goddess, powerful goddess energy in you and bring your arms into goddess arms. What does victory feel like to you? Find that expression with your arms. And then hands back behind you. Clasp them, open wide through the heart. Big inhale. And exhale, release, and we'll take that twist, pressing down into the left palm under the shoulder. Right palm presses into the right thigh, shoulder, right shoulder stacks over left. As you continue to expand the length of your spine like an arrow from tail to crown. Releasing, frame the front foot, step the back foot up to meet, hip width apart. The front foot, take a half forward bend, deep inhale, exhale, fold. Coming into that squat, into chair pose, Utkatasana, bring the hands to prayer. Ujjayi breath, one more cycle. And then sweep up. Palms meet, draw down to the heart. Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarva Shatru Vinashanam. All evil vanishes from one who keeps the sun in the heart. Inhale, arms reach, rise. Look to the sky, arch back. Exhale, bow to the earth. Halfway up, flat back. Exhale, fold. Step back, left foot. Come back into your low lunge again. This time, sweep the hands forward and up. And we're going to take it right into a prayer twist. Bring your palms together. And let the upper arm, the outside of the left arm, come to the outside of the right thigh. Sometimes words just disappear. Press into the palms, roll open the right shoulder. If it's available, you can curl your back toes under, lift up into high lunge, look up at the sky, keep the inner thighs energized to support you in this pose. Big breath, and then frame that right foot, step back to plank. Firm up your plank, take a deep breath in. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, cobra, your expression of cobra, keeping the pelvis down, whether you're doing low or full cobra. Exhale, release, forehead comes down toward the earth. Press up through plank or table, and right back into downward dog this time. Deep breath in, exhale, press the front of the mat away, press the low belly toward the tops of the thighs. On the next inhale, step the left foot through, low lunge. Inner thighs engage toward the center, sweep up. And then the palms come together into that prayer twist. See if you can line up your thumbs with the heart. So as you press, you're going to deepen into the twist and bring the thumbs a little closer to being in line with your heart center. Back toes curled under to lift. If you want to take it to the next step, look up at the sky if you want to take it to the next step. Keep pressing out through the heel, the whole back leg, strong and powerful. Release, frame that front foot, step up, half forward bend, inhale, exhale, fold, drop the hips halfway, bring the hands to prayer, Utkatasana, let the weight come back toward the heels. You can even experiment with lifting the toes here and spreading them wide, which will help bring your weight back into your heels. And sweep up, palms press together and return to the heart. Aditya hridayam punyam sarva shatru vinashanam. All happiness comes to one who keeps the sun in their heart. Inhale, arms sweep up, arch back. Exhale, dive forward. Halfway up, lift, long spine. Big breath in. Exhale, fold. Step right foot back into high lunge. From here, spin the back heel inward 45 degrees. And sweep the hands forward and up, coming into Warrior One. Bringing into your own body that expression of being victorious. Victorious over, remember all this is metaphorical, the enemy of your own mind that keeps you from remembering the magnificence that you truly are. So either goddess arms or reaching tall, victorious arms. You can even bring your hands in the victory symbol, like I always think of Richard Nixon when I do this. Or hands behind you, just an open heart, if that feels good. And let's actually do that all together, opening the heart here so we can come into a humble warrior. Making all of our actions a dedication to God, to spirit, to divinity. As you release, you're going to sweep the right fingertips down on the earth and wheel open into your warrior two. And opening the hips toward the right side of your mat, nice and long through the heart center. Take it into a sun-gazing warrior. Reach the fingertips high on the left hand and then gaze at your palm, keeping your warrior legs here. Big breath. Exhale, bring the forearm to the thigh. Sweep, going to make a nice sweep down of the right fingertips and away to roll the hips open. So you stack right hip on top of left. Find your long diagonal line. So get long enough in your stance that there's an unbroken line from the outer edge of your right foot to your right fingertips. Grow long. Take it in a bind if you enjoy that. Looking up at the sky, that invites the torso to roll open a little bit more. And release. And we're going to place that right palm down and take it into a high lunge twist. So here you're going to bring your back foot onto the ball of your foot. Exhale, release. Frame the front foot, step back to plank, flow through vinyasa, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, to cobra or up dog, and meet in downward facing dog. Take another breath in downward facing dog. And we're going to take it into a three-legged dog. Sweeping the right leg back behind you, find that one long diagonal line, and then here, bend the knee, and we'll open up the hips, stacking right hip on top of left. See if you can kick your own asana. And here is where we need to keep paying special attention to pushing down and forward into the earth. So we keep that diagonal line from fingers to hips. Level the hips here, step through into high lunge, spin the back heel inward 45 degrees, square the hips to the front and find your expression of a victorious warrior who keeps the sun in her heart. Maybe even bringing your hands onto your, right to the heart center to remind yourself of that hridayam, that spiritual heart, where that proverbial sun is always shining. And then hands come back behind you, interlace, spread the heart wide open, arch back, look up at the sky, and take your humble warrior, the crown of the head reaching toward the earth, hands to the sky, then unclasp, sweep left fingertips to the earth and wheel open into your graceful and powerful warrior two. Notice if this bent knee, your right knee, wants to go in toward the center and engage that stretch in the inner thigh and that opening in the hip by drawing the outside of that thigh toward the right end of your mat. Soften the shoulders down. Take aim, fixing your gaze right over your middle finger on your right hand. So we cultivate that warrior energy of focus and determination. And then turn the front palm up and take that sky-gazing, sun-gazing warrior. Big inhale. And we're going to come right into the extended side angle here, bringing your forearm to the thigh. De-scrunch your left shoulder. I just made up that word, de-scrunch. I like it. Feel the expansion through the ribs here, and then take it into your bind. Look up at the sky, and see if you can keep rolling that left shoulder open. And release, and take it right into your side angle twist, bringing the back heel up, being on the ball of your back foot. Exhale, release, and step the back foot up into a half forward bend. Inhale, exhale, forward fold, and come into your chair pose, palms in prayer. And rise up slow. Circling up, palms come together, return to the heart. Adicca hridayam punyam sarva shatru vinashanam. We'll do one more round. We'll take it into some balance play here. Inhale, reach and rise, arch back. Exhale, deep dive. Half lift. Feeling how the front body activates to support the lengthening of the spine here. Exhale, fold. Take the left foot, step it back into a balancing warrior one. So you're going to stay on the ball of your foot as you sweep up. Open your wings and spring off into flight, into your crane. From your crane, we're going to take it right into the eagle pose. So I'm going to face you so that you can see, and I'll mirror you. So you're going to wrap your right foot. Let me make sure I've got that. No, I don't have that correct. No, that's right. From your crane, you're going to wrap the left foot around your right leg. I think I've got that right. Yes. And the left arm comes underneath into eagle. Just switching from mirroring you to not mirroring you is just like too much for my challenged brain. Get nice and deep in the eagle. Make sure you can also use an option to keep it gentler by having your toes just come down next to your standing leg. So you don't need to have that foot wrapped around behind if that's not available. Lift fingertips to the sky. Feel this as an upper body practice as well as the lower body. And when you're ready, you can open back up into your crane. And I'm going to invite you to take it into one more balance pose. And the challenge here is to come right into dancer. So you're going to slide the left hand down to the left foot, bring the left knee under the hip, right hand rises to the sky, and it either stay right here as a balance practice, or Natarajasana, the Lord of the Dance pose. Kicking back, folding forward to the degree that you kick back, keeping your hips squared to shine straight forward. A little softness in the standing leg. And when you're ready to release, come back to that preparatory pose. Back to crane, spreading your wings. And we're going to take the leap of faith back. So come forward, plant your ball of your foot down, back into your crescent lunge or balancing warrior, victorious and shining. And plant the hands down, step back, flow through your vinyasa as you choose, either chaturanga to up dog, or even taking a rest in child before meeting in down dog. Take these next few breaths in downward facing dog or child to gather your energy. And when you're ready, you can sweep the left leg back behind you, bend the knee, open up to stack the left hip on top of the right. Keep energized in the arms so you have that unbroken diagonal. Kick your own butt and step it through. Crescent lunge, sweep it up. Take this moment to steady yourself, and then open your wings and spring right off into your crane pose. Now, it's absolutely fine if that one movement of taking flight, that springing off, feels ungrounding for you. Ground yourself by coming into mountain first, and then lift up. Be with a fingertip near a wall if you need to. And we're going to take it right into your eagle pose. So this time, your right leg will wrap around your left. So we get that nice internal hip rotation. And hands come into eagle, arms come into eagle arms with the right arm wrapping underneath. Fingertips to the sky, get down into it, breathe and enjoy. Ujjayi breath. Anytime you need to ground yourself in mountain, please take that. I'm going to transition into the dancer pose. So now, letting your right hand slide down your lower leg to your right foot. The left hand rises and comes into Dhyan Mudra, thumb and tip of the first finger join. Other fingers are extended. And kick back. It's a lovely back bend and front body stretch. Do not lock the knee of the standing leg. Kick up and back. Square the hips front. Breathe, enjoy. dance, play, and keep the sun in your heart. Release when you're ready. Back into your crane, taking flight. And then leap of faith, stepping back. Find your victorious warrior and float the hands down. Step up, half forward bend. Exhale, fold. Drop the hips halfway, hands in prayer. Sit down in that chair. And rise up like the sun. Palms meet and return to the heart. Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarva Shatru Vinashanam. And take a moment to come into your child's pose to ground yourself and just gather your breath, gather your energy, cool down for a moment from this energizing practice. Rising up into table pose. Slide the hands forward into the heart melting Anahata Asana or puppy stretch, either be on your chin or your forehead. Navel lifts, in and up. Tailbone reaches back, hands reach forward, heart melts down. Lower the forearms down and come into Sphinx as you draw the upper body forward. Plant the tops of the feet down as the legs are energized and active. So you can feel the engagement of the kneecap lift, engagement of the quadriceps, shoulders draw back. As you press into the elbows and give them a little tug, the heart draws forward in the lower ribs and solar plexus area light up. So we're going to come into a back bend practice now. We're going to take a few different back bends. So the gentlest form of a back bend here is just to stay in the Sphinx. And for some of you, that might be the most appropriate thing. You can also bend your knees and just bring your heels, as big toes touch, bring your heels close to your buttocks, as close as they'll want to go. And lift, press down and away into the hands and just straighten your arms. Maybe that'll be your back bend for today. Those of you who want to take it deeper can come into your bow pose, Dhanurasana. So you'll roll the forehead down to the mat. Bend the knees. Bring the knees in line with the hips so the inner thighs are close together, and grab the tops of the feet. On the inhale, lift the head, roll the shoulders back, draw the heart forward, lift the knees and thighs. Reach the toes up to the sky and kick back, kick back, kick back, kick back. Lift the edges of the mouth toward the ears. It makes it more fun. Breathe. Keep the sun shining in your heart. Lift, lift, lift. And when you're ready to release, slowly float down. Make a pillow with your hands. Turn the head to one side and just rest for a moment. Some of you might find that doing this pose, it's challenging to reach the feet. It's challenging to stay lifted. So you can take, if you have a thick blanket, you can take a rolled up blanket and put it right underneath the lower ribs. Starting in Sphinx pose, then you can reach back and it might be a lot easier for you to get that lift if you have that support underneath your right in the solar plexus area. So I'm going to invite you to try the Dhanurasana, the bow pose, one more time. Wonderful expansion of the chest as we're focusing on the shining open of the heart. And this time, you can either do what you did before, or if you are needing a little support, you can try that blanket practice, or you can try to juice it up a little bit by flexing the feet. This is if you're comfortable reaching your feet and you're ready to go to the next step of challenge, which is to flex the feet and let the soles of the feet reach to the sky. And that juices it up a little bit more. So when you're ready, lifting up into your bow pose, you want to get those thighs peeled all the way off of the mat. Kick back, spread the heart, shine it forth. When you're ready to release, soften down, make that pillow palm on palm, and turn your cheek to the other side. Let it go. Hands under the shoulders, press up into table, and take a super duper cat stretch. So I'm going to leave that up to you, what super duper looks like. It might be coming up onto fingers and getting a lot more lift. Really spreading apart through the shoulder blades, really drawing the navel in, really bringing the pubic bone toward the nose. See if you can try to touch your nose to your pelvis here. And sink it back into child. We're going to do one more back bend. I'm going to invite you to take your expression of camel pose. And I think everyone here, I'm just going to check to make sure, I think everyone here who's on this Zoom with me today has done some version of camel pose on your own. So I'm not going to give instruction in camel today, but I'm going to let you find your own access to it, your own expression of it. Some of you will be using your blocks beside you to get that heart expansion and throat expansion. Some of you will have the block behind you, between your calves, pressing into the edges of the block, imagining that golden cord around the heart, lifting it to the sky. Some of you will be using a blanket around your neck to give you a little padding so you can safely tilt the head back, and some of you will be keeping your chin tucked and choosing not to do the neck, the throat opener, if that feels more appropriate for you. Others will come into tucking, curling the toes under to lift the heels, taking your camel pose, Ustrasana, and some of you will have the tops of the feet down in the full expression of camel. Wide open heart, wide open throat. Take a deep breath in and exhale with a inhale, deep breath. Exhale, one more time. When you come out, you support yourself by bringing one palm and then the other to the low back. Let the head come up last. And slowly sink back into your child's pose. Bringing the inner thighs together. This time the belly rests on the thighs and the hands come alongside the body. Fingers reaching toward the back of your mat. Just take a moment to notice all of the aliveness and prana and tingling that you feel. What's been lit up in your back body here or in the front body.
We'll take it into the rabbit, the complementary pose. So bring the hands over the backs of the heels. It's over the Achilles tendon to meet inside the ankles. Turn your palms to face the inner ankle so the knuckles face one another. Backs of the hands look at each other. Grab your ankles and roll onto the crown of the head, drawing the nose toward the space between the knees. Pull and lift. Lift the low back, pull on the arms. Lift and pull, the arms go straight, the hips lift as high as they can, maybe taking a little rocking forward and back on the crown of the head for a cranial massage. When you're ready, release the hands from the ankles, come back, and letting the hips sink down toward the heel into child's pose. Hands under the shoulders, press up into sitting on your heels. We're going to come into hip opener, glute stretch, the pigeon pose. So coming with your hands forward in table pose, just slide your right knee forward and your left knee back and wiggle your right foot a little closer toward your left hand. And maybe taking a moment for a little pigeon dance side to side. Bringing the hands under the shoulders and coming onto fists or fingertips. And if it serves you to put a little support, a little something, a wedge underneath your right buttock, please do that. You want to make sure your knee is pointing out in an angle toward the right side of your mat. Hips are squared. So there's sort of an energetic drawing the right hip crease back and the left hip crease forward. Look back and make sure your back leg is straight and the knee points down and the top of the foot is down. Melt the shoulders down and meditate on keeping the sun shining in your heart. If you have a variation that you enjoy here, like bending your back leg and reaching back for your back foot, you can do that. Taking the pigeon dancer, I'll turn sideways so that you can see what that looks like. So just like we did that bow kick, the same idea. And it's kind of it's really like that dancer pose. Keep the hips squared. And you might find that mudra with your thumb and first finger joining. All these are lovely heart-opening poses, as well as a lovely stretch for the psoas muscle, opener of the hip. And we're going to take it right into a twist. So from here, if your right knee is forward, remove the support that's underneath your cushion. So let that back leg float down, remove the support. Let your buttock come down, right buttock come down and make contact with the mat. And swing your left leg all the way around, bringing the left heel close to the right hip. You're going to wrap your right arm around that folded left leg to come into a seated twist. Reach your left fingertips forward and follow your gaze over your left middle finger all the way around back behind you and place that palm down. Press down into the mat, lift through the spine. Inhale, exhale, deepen into the twist. Lifting on the inhale, deepening on the exhale. Releasing when you're ready, unwinding your left leg. Coming back into your table pose, maybe another round of cat-cow will feel good before transitioning into pigeon on the other side. Left knee comes behind left wrist, hip square. You want to make sure that you've got that internal rotation of your right thigh so that your knee and top of the foot is straight down, not turned out to the side. Now make it easier to square the hips and find that elegant lift in your chest. Whole front of the torso shines forth. Think about the solar plexus. This opens not only the heart, but the solar plexus, which is your own inner shining sun, your power center, your center of where we connect with our sense of purpose and will and determination. Any variations here that you want to explore, either that pigeon dancer or just drawing the back foot close to the back heel close to the buttocks. If you are going to lift that back leg, you may find that having some support, a little more height underneath your left buttock will make a huge difference in supporting, being able to find the sweet spot of your center of gravity. Because if you're struggling to stay upright, really try another fold of that blanket and see what difference it makes. You don't want to struggle. You want it to, when you kick back with that back foot, you should be able to float this front arm up effortlessly and just feel the kicking back and the reaching forward, just supporting a perfect center of gravity for you along down the center of your torso. Draw your right hip pointer forward, your left hip pointer back to square the hips. Breathe and enjoy. And when you're ready to release, we're going to transition right into that pigeon, from pigeon to a seated twist. So remove your support underneath your left buttock and draw the right leg around. Wrap your left arm around, hug it in close. Reach your right hand forward and gaze over your middle finger. Follow that gaze around back and place the palm right behind your sacrum. You're going to have your wrist like right behind your sacrum area. Soften the shoulders, lengthen up through the crown. 3 deep breaths. Unwinding your twist. Unwind that back leg that was wrapped around and come back into your table pose. And I invite you to sit on your heels or on a block. Just, you may want to either put 1 or 2 blocks underneath you so that you can tuck your legs underneath you, whatever supports a long spine, for a moment of pranayama before we come into lying on our back. So, I don't know about you, but I got really warm from this practice because it's hot. And so I thought it would be a good idea to take a few minutes of practicing Sheetali Pranayama, which is the yogic cooling breath. And there are a few different ways that you can do this. You're going to suck air in through a tube in the tongue. So it's an open mouth inhale, and it's an exhale through the nose. And for those of you who can, you're going to stick the tongue out and make like a tube, kind of like a cannoli, like that, curling the tongue, sticking it out, and suck air in through that tube in the tongue. Now, if you find that your tongue does not curl like that, it's a genetic thing. Some people's tongues don't do it.
So if that's the case, then you can either just have the teeth, just put the tips of the teeth together and suck in through the teeth, which is also a cooling feeling. You can feel that cool breath as it brushes by the teeth. Or you can curl the tongue sideways and make that tube coming in through the sides. So do whatever works for you. Everybody's got their video off, so I can't see how ridiculous they look going. I'll look ridiculous for you. So find your access to this in-breath, either through the teeth or through the tongue. Long spine, open heart, and draw the breath in on the inhale through the tube. Hold, close the mouth. Let that cooling energy move through you, and exhale through the nose, nice and slow. So you're exhaling the warm air, drawing in the cool air. Inhale through the tube in the tongue, cool breath. Close the mouth. Pause. And exhale through the nose. Just enjoy the cool feeling as the in-breath brushes the tongue and cools the whole mouth. Lips close, pause, exhale through the nose. And take a few more of those at your own pace. The Sheetali breath is used to cool down the system anytime we feel overheated. It also can help to cool down emotionally when we have very hot, stirred up emotions. So it can be for physical heat or emotional heat as well. And one more refinement of this practice. After you inhale that cool breath through the tongue or the teeth, close the lips and touch the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth. Just gentle touching of the tip of the tongue, so you're sending that coolness up into the brain. And exhale through the nose. Breathe in through the mouth. Suck it in, enjoy the coolness. Close the lips, touch the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth. Send it up, and exhale through the nose. Continuing at your own pace. And one more cycle. Inhaling, cooling breath. Sending it upward, touching the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth, and exhale through the nose. Just pause for a moment with eyes closed to notice the effect of Sheetali Pranayama. And then I invite you to come onto your back, on your mat. Lying down. And if there's any final movements that would help you feel complete with your practice before we take Shavasana, I'm going to give you this as a moment of yogi's choice time. Try to make it a calming practice rather than an energizing practice. So maybe taking wind relieving into a twist, or maybe taking your happy baby pose, or perhaps if you want a little more hip opener, supine bound angle. Maybe legs up in the air, or a gentle moment of inversion. Again, without getting too fiery, we just did a lot of cooling down. So you want to keep that cooling down space. And if you're doing something on one side and haven't switched yet to the other, please take the time to take that posture on the other side. And slowly find your way into corpse pose, Shavasana. As a way of settling into stillness, integrating all of the practices that you've done this morning. Let the eyes close. Palms turn up. As if you're lying underneath the beautiful, radiant, generous sun. The sun which shines down on us indiscriminately, lovingly. Each one of us is like one of those little cups of water underneath the sun. Each one of us has a perfect reflection of the sun's light in its totality. And no matter how many pots of water are shining in the sun, whether it's 7 of us or 7 billion of us, every single pot of water is touched by that same light in its perfection. Just as you are a perfect reflection of divinity, embodied in your unique form, with your unique constellation of strengths and challenges and your own personal story, your own individual karma that we have come into this life to explore and learn from and grow through. each have our own battles that we are engaged in with our own minds and our own life experiences. Keeping the sun in our heart, the remembrance of that divinity that indiscriminately is reflected in every heart, is a way that we can remain victorious over those mental afflictions that we can see as our enemies. By keeping that sun in our heart, we can enjoy that permanent happiness that is not subject to the comings and goings and changes of our life situation.
Adityaridayam punyam sarvashatru vinashanam. Adityaridayam punyam sarvashatru vinashanam. Adityaridayam punyam sarvashatru vinashanam. Adityaridayam punyam sarvashatru vinyasanam. Slowly begin to deepen your breath and bring some movement into your body. Movements that bring you back into present time. And when you're ready, you can roll over onto one side. And slowly press yourself up to a seated position. And those of you who wish to can join me in this closing chant, the mantra that we've been working with for our practice this morning. Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarva Shatru Vinashanam. Meditate on keeping the sun in your heart and you will be victorious. Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarvashatru vinashanam. 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 Adicharidayam punyam sarvashatru vinasanam. Adicharidayam punyam sarvashatru vinasanam. Adicharidayam punyam sarvashatru vinasanam. Bring your hands to your heart center. May we keep the sun in our heart. And may that radiance in our own heart shine forth as compassion, to shine on all the places, all the dark corners of the world where it is needed. Those dark corners in our own families and our own communities, where we can bring our own light of compassion and love to the places where healing and light is needed. So today and always, may we keep the sun in our hearts. Taking a deep breath in, let's join our voices with the sound of Om. Namaste.